Hello, welcome to Board Game Bonkers. I'm Jay Sears, and today we're going to take a look at the top 10 strategy games that will test your patience. So, are you going to be a strategic mastermind after playing these games or not? Now, strategic games do offer a lot in terms of developing logical thinking skills, problem solving skills, some cooperative elements for those that are cooperative gameplays, as well as other analytical and thinking skills. And they also importantly test your patience. So we're going to dive into our top 10, but we've got a few honourable mentions to go over, and I didn't want to miss out games that would be suitable for families and younger individuals who perhaps want to get their teeth into some strategy games. Now, there are a few really complex and lengthy games on this list, but I've also mashed in some family weight games just to tailor the need for everyone who can enjoy a strategic game that's going to test and improve your strategic thinking skills. So, with that out of the way, and before we get started, please do consider subscribing to the channel. And I also want to bring your attention to articles that I write in the board game industry on Medium. Now, I put the link in the description down below, so please do check that out and read the articles. Some of them are based on these videos that I put together, and sometimes you can read them before I get the videos out. So with that out of the way, let's dive into our honourable mentions. And the first one is a classic. The reason why I put this on, because it certainly is logical in how you think. This has been around since the 1800s, a long time. This is chess. So in chess, now it's a timeline classic, we know that, and it's a strategic game that really transcends through generations of gameplay. While it's not prevalent among hardcore gamers, it does carry a nostalgic charm and continues to captivate players worldwide who still play this game. If you're a fan of chess, you know about Magnus Magnusson, who without doubt is the #1 grandmaster in chess, and how he thinks around 30 to 50 spaces ahead. Absolutely mind-boggling indeed. Now, you don't need a ridiculously high IQ to enjoy chess, and I played this when I was younger. I wasn't particularly great at it, but there are other types of games as well that play chess. But before we get on to that, let's just discover what this gameplay is. Well, if you're not familiar with chess, and you should be, it demands intense concentration and meticulous planning to secure victory, where players will be engaging in a battle of wits and anticipating and counting each other's moves as you're playing these chess pieces, and each one does something slightly different. And the chess players will showcase their ability to think multiple steps ahead, and sometimes ridiculous amounts. And the game will involve, and it's an 8x8 board, moving these distinct pieces in different roles. Your horse can go in an L shape, for example. You know, your queen can go absolutely anywhere. So you've got different pieces to move around and figure out the best strategic moves. Now, it does improve your focus and concentration. It requires you to complete attention to the board, enhancing your concentration as you visualize moves and counter moves. There is planning and foresight. So the game really does instill foresight by compelling players to plan several steps ahead, and it improves your logical thinking as you've got to think very carefully and predict your opponent's responses, and it really does test your patience. Chess really is a timeline of patience, especially among those who plan multiple moves ahead. Now, as you can see, as we go through these games, we're going to concentrate more on patience rather than the gameplay itself. So let's now move in to our second honourable mention. And I was hesitant in putting this on because it's not technically a strategy game. These are escape room games, which are more puzzly than strategic, but still requires logical and reasoning thinking. So escape room games, while they're not traditional strategy games, they do present an engaging and puzzling alternative that challenges both your patience and critical thinking, and it diverges from the conventional board game format. Now, these games often stimulate the intensity of a real-time escape room experience, with various puzzles to solve and a time limit, that they offer that really immersive test of your wits and your composure. Now, for the gameplay, now what you'll find is escape room games come in different formats. Some are cards, for example, some are different pieces, maps you have to put together, some have a wheel of codes you need to decipher. And the common feature is a real-time 60-minute limit that really heightens that sense of urgency to try and complete these puzzles. And you have a ton of different codes and challenges to decipher. It definitely enhances problem-solving skills because it fosters that critical thinking. And there's a lot of collaboration in this, and you've really got to work together. Sometimes you might be doing puzzles on your own as well. There's a bit of time management because you can try and complete them normally in 60 minutes. Now, in terms of a patience test, what that involves, each kind of escape room game really serves a unique patience test, and it combines that kind of pressure of the ticking clock and the 60 minutes and the need for careful examination of clues. Now, your patience is really key as you kind of navigate through these puzzles, and you're trying to prevent that frustration from hindering your teammates' progression and trying to get these puzzles solved. It really is fun, and I want to put in this list because I really do enjoy escape room games. That certainly is my puzzle type of game. It certainly helps your thinking. So let's now move into our last honourable mention, and this is imagination. Well, I suppose I should be using it as I say the game correctly. Imagician, it is called, and this is more tailored towards families and children, and it's a bit of an abstract game, so we couldn't really miss this out for younger players, and we wanted to put it in because I felt that it's worth checking out if you're looking for a more simple, streamlined game that's more puzzly and a little bit strategic, but it has a time management element into it. Check it out. So it's a kind of lively and fast-paced game where you'll be putting your kind of shape spotting skills and illustration skills to the test in real time, okay? So the game kind of revolves around these cards that I'll be displaying, and they'll be connected, or they'll be kind of standalone symbols that are on the cards, and this kind of cardboard shape, if you like. And what you'll be doing is kind of racing against each other to mark off the corresponding shapes on your boards, either by connecting them with a line or a circle going around them. Now the challenge escalates as players then kind of deduce the correct item from the lines and circles they've drawn. So after one player completes their drawing, others will have a time limit of 30 seconds to finish theirs and make their guesses. Now, in terms of the gameplay itself, it consists of 8 cards, okay, and the objective is to accumulate points. So the first player to correctly guess and finish their drawing earns 2 points, while others who score within the time limit gains 1 point. Now, the game is designed for that kind of lively and interactive play, creating this kind of environment where you've got quick thinking and creative illustration skills, which are important. You can adjust the difficulty level as well. In terms of your patience and that testing that patience, what this really involves is it's more than just a standard kind of basic abstract board game. It does give a bit of an exercise feel in your patience and concentration, that real-time element to stay focused and calm. And it does give a bit of chaos with the different shapes you're trying to figure out and trying to get a hold of, and it does kind of get you to teach you that bit of patience and calmness, especially around children playing this. So now let's move on to our top 10. Starting off with a number 10, this is a family game. It's a classic. This is Pandemic, and certainly one I would highly recommend checking out. But wait until we get to number 1, because you want something more emphatic, then certainly check out the number 1 when we get there. So Pandemic, if you're not familiar with it, which you should be, because it's now a great classic game. Now you'll be embarking on a kind of cooperative mission to save the world, okay, from this kind of global pandemic with these viruses, and there'll be 4 diseases spread across the planet of Earth, and these will be represented by cubes of various cities that are placed out as you'll be drawing these cards. And players will take on roles of these fighting specialists with unique abilities that you've got, and you'll be having different actions you can take on your turn. Now the goal is to work together to discover cures for these diseases before you end up destroying humanity around this world, and you've got this outbreak marker you've got to keep under control, as well as if you've got too many disease cubes coming up, that's really going to hurt you. And when the stack of cards that you'll be drawing up to the end of your turn, when that disappears and is empty, well, the game is over. So you're trying to find the cures for 4 diseases before the game finishes. So Pandemic resolves around you working together, coordinating, and then players will be trying to work out how they can use their skills and what actions you're going to take to get rid of those cubes, which are the viruses, and find the cure, which is I think it's 5 cards you've got to swap in to then cure that disease at a research centre. So there's a lot of strategic gameplay there, and it's really pretty in how it looks as well, although the game theme isn't too pretty, but it's heroic. So there's a patience test here, because in pandemic, you've got a cooperative nature, and it demands you to work together and try and solve it while trying to avoid that alpha player syndrome that can affect this gameplay. Now, you must carefully discuss your strategy and options amongst each turn that you've got with your other fellow players, emphasising the need for that kind of thoughtful decision making, and then the escalating challenges will come in as the outbreaks transpire. So when you've got more than 3 cubes that hit a city, it outbreaks into other adjacent cities, causing an outbreak. It increases outbreak marker and puts that pressure on you. So you need a lot of patience there. You need to be able to work together as a team. And like I said, you need to try and avoid the alpha player, because you want the player that's on their turn to make their decision. So let's now move into our number 9. And this is a big, long game. Twilight Imperium 4th edition, but the 3rd edition's fine, but you can get a hold of 4th edition. I recommend that. Now this is a long, epic game indeed, and it is heavy. So, the Twilight Imperium is a grand space, kind of opera, this space exploration, and it unfolds across this galaxy. It blends these elements of diplomacy. You've got warfare and the different alliances you can create. Now, as leaders of these unique factions, well, players will be embarking on this kind of epic quest for this dominance across space, navigating your political webs and managing valuable resources and engaging in these interstellar battles. Now, during the gameplay, what you'll be doing, players will be strategizing to control key regions, so there's area control of the galaxy, and you've got political negotiations, there's resource management, you've got large-scale conflicts, it's shaping this kind of narrative as alliances are forged and broken. So victories demand a kind of delicate balance of power and cunning diplomacy as you explore space. So what about the patience test? Well, the game's kind of expansive scope and this kind of intricate mechanics that work together demand a really patient approach. Negotiations really unfold quite slowly, alliances kind of shift gradually, and the game's kind of length requires a deep commitment to this strategic patience, really giving a true test of endurance. Now, this game can take several hours, often days, to play, so keep that in mind. So if you're up for an epic space game, this definitely is one of the best you'll ever play, but it requires a lot of investment. Now, let's move in to our number 8, and that is Through the Ages, A New Civilization. And I think this is a great civilization game without a board and uses a kind of card mechanism system. So let me just explain briefly. So Through the Ages, what you'll be doing, players will be shaping their kind of this course of history, like by drafting these leaders you'll have, which is a card, and you'll be drafting different technologies and wonders you can build it, give you points and different resources and technologies. And what you'll be doing is putting them into your board to upgrade what you've already got to give you better resources. And you'll be building this civilization of cards, and you're striking this kind of balance between resource management, your scientific progress that you'll be making, military cards that are going to give you military strength that you need, because you've got to be careful. If you've got weak military, you can get really humbled in this game and people can destroy you, so you've got to be careful. Now, Through the Ages really involves, over these centuries, different eras that will be coming out and different cards will be coming out, and it gets stronger and stronger as you go through the eras. And you'll be making these critical decisions to develop your civilization, buying these cards, placing your workers in cards to gain resources, and delving into these conflicts of battle as you increase your military strength. Now, the drafting of cards and thoughtful resource management really are pivotal in navigating the challenges in each age and striving for victories. Each age, you have a new set of cards that come out, and you can upgrade your leader as well. Now, there is a patience test here without a doubt, because the game's emphasis on this kind of long-term strategy is important and enduring consequences of your decisions that you make. Because if you don't increase your military strength, for example, you will get crushed. But also you need points. You've got to be careful, because you've got these cards you can play, these event cards that come out and could impact you greatly or impact your opponents. So you have to work out strategically when to play those event cards. Really intriguing and quite interesting. So let's now move into our number 7. This is a heavy game, but if you like battle and miniature games, then you might enjoy this. But be prepared. This is heavily strategic in depth. This is Mage Knight, the board game. And in Mage Knight, what you'll be doing is you'll be kind of immersing yourself in this fantasy world as you kind of become these and develop these powerful Mage Knights. You'll be exploring and conquering cities. You'll be engaging in these complex battle systems. And I don't want to go into detail about that. It's primarily card-based combat. And then there's this deck building mechanisms that you'll be using, and be integrating your kind of day and night cycles through these cards that you'll be using. And it offers this really challenging strategic experience. So with the gameplay, you'll take on this role of Mage Knight, you'll explore this kind of world, and there'll be different challenges and opportunities, okay? There'll be tactical decisions to make, there's resource management, you've got this deck optimization, you're getting more cards into your deck. There'll be key elements as you try and conquer these cities and to try and kind of be this formidable force. And there's definitely a patience test here, because it's got complex rules, but it's got quite an intricate mechanism reward for your patience there if you make the right strategic choices. And whether you're kind of exploring the map or you're engaging in lots of combat, it really demands careful consideration. And this is one of the most complex systems you will come across, but it can be very rewarding. So let's now move into our number 6, and this is Robinson Crusoe. A great adventure desert island game. It's certainly one of the hardest cooperative games you will ever play. Now, there's an element of luck in this game, but there's a lot of strategic thinking that goes into it. So Robinson Crusoe really immerses players in this cooperative survival experience. Now, you're stranded in this desert island, you've got to collaborate to overcome all these challenges, gather resources, explore the map, and face these unpredictable elements of nature as you roll that weather die. Now, the gameplay works by you surviving this desert island, unveiling those map tiles and gathering resources. You can roll a die to try and gather more resources, but there's a risk you might not get any, or you can just take the one resource that's there. So you really have to work together and figure out how you're going to gather these resources, and obviously defend yourself against these weather elements and event cards that come out. You're going to be building a shelter, building a fire camp. You'll be navigating these events as they come through during the rounds, and really can be quite critical to success or failure. So there is definitely a patience test with this game, because it can be quite frustrating at times. So the game really does challenge you through these scenarios and that cooperative nature that really do test that patience. Now, you've got strategic planning, there's cooperation, which is essential for overcoming these island difficulties and challenges, and these kind of virtual trials, and you'll be turning Robinson Crusoe into this kind of test of resilience and careful planning as you go through this. It really is a thematic experience. It's damn right tough and can be really frustrating. So let's now move into our number 5. This is the number 1 board game according to Board Game Geek, and you can understand why. It's a brilliantly crafted game, although it's quite a dark theme. This is Brass Birmingham, and certainly is set in the industrial era. So in Brass, it really does invite players to delve into this industrial revolution, where there's an economic strategy and network building, which are keys to the success of winning. Now, you're this entrepreneur, you're navigating this economic landscape, you're building industries, creating networks, and trying to get goods from one end to the other to try and sell and increase your points. Now, it's set against this kind of that industrial dark theme, and it really does challenge you to build the industries around different cities. You'll be creating all these networks, replacing networks out through canal networks or rail networks, and you're trying to create this economic environment to sell goods and try and increase your victory points. Now, it really does test your patience. It can be quite a slow build up to start with, and it demands you to calculate when to gather resources, where to place your expansion, which cities to go to. Now, it can be quite brutal at times if you're not careful in planning your strategy, but you've sometimes got to wait and be patient for that opportunity moment to optimize your actions that you've got and adapt to the market shifts as the market values change, and patiently build up your economic empire. So let's move into our number 4. And this now is starting to become a classic amongst many. This is Scythe. Now, the game box may kind of steer you in the wrong direction of thinking. This is not an all out war game. In fact, you really engage in combat. This is more strategic and resource management, gathering, and action selection. So let me explain. So it's set in this alternate history of the 1920s, and it combines elements of this engine building, resource management, and area control. So you'll be leading a faction in this quest for that territorial dominance. You'll be recruiting armies. This is your mechs that will go into the board, and then you'll be navigating this world that's set in the 1920s. And it revolves around, like I said, conquering these territories, trying to expand, gathering resources, recruiting more workers, deploying the mechs to gain that dominance and engage in combat. You've got asymmetric factions with unique abilities added to that strategic depth. Now, but you've really got to carefully plan your actions to achieve them. Now, the action selection board that each player has, you then choose an action from one of the 4 areas on your board, which is placing your marker there, and then you unlock more abilities as you go along. You take the top action and bottom action, sometimes you pick both of the actions if you unlock certain parts of your board, and you'll be placing certain monuments out as well. Now, combat works by a card system. You'll be drawing these cards as well as a dial system that you'll be using. So there's no luck as such in combat. There's a little bit that's more strategic and tactical in the combat, but bear in mind, very rarely do you engage in combat. And there's many different scoring abilities, and you've got to score a number of stars to win the game. So it does test your patience in a number of areas, this game. Now, first of all, there's that strategic planning and trying to think what actions you're going to take and trying to maximize those actions. It does start off quite slow because pretty much everyone's doing the same thing to gather resources to build those to try and unlock better abilities on their player boards. But you've got to be patient and consider what actions, when you're going to do it, and navigate these kind of complex decision trees that are in this game and adapt a kind of long-term perspective on what you're going to do. And it doesn't have player elimination. It's whoever gets there. It's a race to complete the number of stars that are required in different quests and missions you're going to be going on. Now, it is quite intriguing. It's not for everyone, so don't be put off by the resource management. Action selection board is fantastic, and the combat works reasonably well. Just don't expect you to go in lots of combat unless you want to. There's one particular faction that lets you and encourages you to do that. So let's now move into number 3. If you like combat, area control, card play, well, check out Blood Rage. This now is becoming a classic amongst many, and it's highly acclaimed. Now, this is a kind of, it's almost a Norse-themed Viking theme this has got, and you can competing for glory. You'll be getting your Vikings out from pillaging. You'll be engaging in battles and fulfilling these quests that are set out. And then what you'll be doing is you've got a bit of card drafting, and then you'll be trying to create these alliances to shape your destiny in this game. Now, it spans across 3 ages, and you'll be drafting God gift cards aligned to these abilities, this faction that you are. Now, there's these different types of gods. You've got a Thor, for example, enhances battle glory. You've got Heimdall, which provides foresight, and you've got Loki, for example, introduces unpredictable dynamics. So you'll be strategizing and evolving during a draft of these cards, and then you'll be adapting to your opponent's moves and in the action phases. And battles that involve your figure strength and secret card play on top of that, and it adds that layer of strategy. I really like how this works. I really like the combat system in this. Now, there is quite a bit of patience test in this game because Blood Rage really does reward for adapting and patience in this game, where you'll be drafting and that requires your ability to think ahead and know what you want to do and anticipating what your opponents are going to do. There's a kind of dynamic nature of battles and evolving strategies of your rivals and demanding when to go in, when to move your troops, your Vikings, and when to stay back, making sure you've got the right cards to play. Now, winning balance may not always be optimal, so emphasising the importance of strategic patience in that. And the game is really layered with complexity to ensure that patience in this decision-making game is really key to the success. Great thematic game. I really do highly recommend it. Let's move into our number 2 now. And this might be a surprise to some. It's more of a tactical hidden movement game. This is Sniper Elite, the board game. Now, if you've played the video game, this is an adaptation to this. Now, in Sniper, I was going to call it Sniper Light, Sniper Elite. It's adapted from that game series, and it's a lot of kind of tension and tactics it gives. And you've got this stealth sniper going on these missions. So one player becomes the sniper, aiming to navigate past these German guards using a combination of stealth and strategic engagements. And then opposing forces will consist of up to 3 players controlling squads of German soldiers. You can play this with 2 players, works fine, and you'll be tasked with defending the objectives and hunting down this sniper wherever he's hiding. Now, during the gameplay, there's a central element of Sniper Elite, which involves bag manipulation. So you'll be simulating the uncertainty of the sniper shot through the bag manipulation. Don't know what's coming out. And the sniper draws chits from the bag to target defenders, adding to that unpredictable dimension. So there's a bit of luck there. If you don't like luck, it might not be for you. But meanwhile, the defenders must strategically position themselves to minimize the sniper's chance of success in that shooting. And the game really does involve in that kind of delicate balance between the sniper's cunning maneuvers and the defender's coordination efforts to kind of thwart that infiltration. There's quite a bit of patience here, because in Sniper Elite there is a demand of being careful in what you do, where you place, where you move. So you'll be waiting for the opportunity in the moment to strike for the sniper, and carefully manipulating the bag to maximize the chances of crucial aspects as you build that bag. Now, on the defender side, the patience really is required to coordinate movements, what to do, when to move, trying to anticipate what the sniper is going to do with their actions and protect those vital objectives that the sniper is trying to meet. Now, the game's hidden movement kind of mechanics and that strategic depth really does ensure that players need to be calm and patient to outwit their opponents. It's definitely got a nice thematic feel to this, and although there is luck to it, there's still quite a bit of strategy and working out and tactical elements to this game to work out what your opponent's doing and trying to figure out, and the sniper's trying to strengthen up that bag pool by putting better chips in to make it stronger and more success in shooting. So let's move into a number 1. Like I said, when I came into the number 10, check out number 1, which is Pandemic Legacy Season 1 in particular. I think this is the best out of the Pandemic, and this is known as a legacy game. So what really is a legacy game? Well, it kind of transforms a classic board game into a kind of narrative-driven cooperative campaign. Now, players will be kind of collaboratively working together to combat this disease as the cubes come out, and there'll be other things that happen through this story, and then there'll be a gripping story that will be evolving through the months. Now, there are 12 months, and it's kind of almost like a campaign structure. So you'll be working together. There'll be 12 months you go through. There'll be new rules introduced. You'll be ripping up cards. You'll be putting stickers on your players' abilities to improve them, etc. So there's a lot that evolves in this game. And it's a kind of one-off game. Once you've played it, you can get refill packs, but you tend to put it away, or do what some people do, is put it in a frame on the wall. So if you fail a month, you will get some benefits that will help you try and get through that month the next time. Really is fascinating. It really is a unique, fun experience. So I hope you've enjoyed that. This has been a bit different, this list, really concentrating more on what these strategic games bring to you in your analytical thinking. And as you can tell, as I've been playing a lot of strategy games, my brain is mashed because I can't even speak properly, and it certainly develops your logical thinking as well. If you enjoy strategy games, definitely check out some of these. I've tried to vary the list, so there's a bit of something for everyone. Now, if you enjoy these videos, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. Give our videos a thumbs up. It really does help others discover the channel. And please do check out the description down below. We put lots of links in there. Check out the Medium blog articles that I write. I've also got them up in Board Game Geek as well. So if you enjoy reading articles instead of watching these videos, you've got a choice of 2, and sometimes I release the article before I actually create a video on it. All your support really is much appreciated. So thank you so much to those who have subscribed or are about to hit that subscribe button and giving our videos a thumbs up. And I also love to hear from you. Which strategy games that really help develop your strategic thinking, logical and analytical problem solving skills? Let me know in the comments down below. Until next time, I'm Jay Sears. Take care.